Sorry for any background noise. This is just a little bit more about my mother. I'm going to recite the first half of this story. I may have already posted elsewhere here. It's definitely on other sites, and it's most likely on some stuff that I've written on Medium. So I apologize if you've already reviewed this information. The last day that our family was together, I believe I was 13 years old. Let's see. Yeah, that would make sense, 13. And we're getting ready for school. My dad was getting ready for work. My mom was in the kitchen. And it may have been a Monday, actually. My father had potted some plants over the weekend. We had plants in the house, and he had potted some plants and had set up some plants in the house. We had all kind of different plants in the house, but I think he had potted some new plants. And our cat Mimi had gotten into one of the plants and was digging up the soil, and I think she was using the bathroom in there. She may have been chewing the leaves or something like that. I'm not sure. But my father was absolutely incensed, in an absolute rage, and he was running throughout the house. It's a 2-story house, 4-bedroom, military type, kind of a big townhouse kind of a house, not a small one, but a bigger townhouse, not officers' housing or nothing like that, but comfortable house. And he's running up the stairs and down the stairs chasing the cat, and he's screaming at the cat that those plants will kill you, those plants will kill you. And he's trying to get the cat, like physically handle the cat, and just chasing the cat all around. And I just couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it. This poor little cat just running around and trying to escape my father, and my father just stomping through the whole house, screaming, yelling. And so finally he comes down the stairs, and I catch him in the living room. The living room is between the hallway through the front door and the stairs, and also connects to the kitchen. And I grab him by the arm while he's running through, and I say, "Man, quit it. Them plants ain't gonna kill that cat. You're gonna kill that cat." And he immediately grabbed me by my, with both hands, grabbed me by my neck, and put me into the air. My mother was in the kitchen. She looked out of the kitchen into the living room. She could see what was happening. And she was able to come out and grab him and separate us from the situation. Understand that I have a spinal cord injury that fits what happened there, that didn't show itself until an accident I had in 2006 when I got to the University of California, Santa Cruz. That accident did not create the injury, it only revealed the injury. But let's get beyond that for a moment. My mother was able to separate us, and which is a good thing, because my father was about ready to get his ass beat. But I was off the floor, don't get me wrong. He had me by my neck, both hands. He had me off the floor. I was pretty amazed at the whole situation, but I was happy that he wasn't chasing in I didn't want him to hurt the cat. I did not want him to hurt Mimi. Mimi is a namesake for a cat that existed most likely when I was conceived. And it wouldn't have mattered. I would save any cat. As a matter of fact, I was known in that area to have gotten between a bunch of dumbasses that were fooling around with cats. When you live in military housing, it's like a huge project in some ways. Not exactly, but in some ways it's like a huge project. And there were not cats and dogs being abused when I was around, because I would step in the middle of it. Up to this point, me and my mother had a lot of conversations. I was her best friend from like 5 or 6 years old. We would talk often and often. And she kept telling me things like, oh, We're going to make things better. I'm going to make things better. She's going to make things better. She had sent me and my dad to go see counselors because my father was such a recluse, aggressive, and angry. But I never realized that it was because she was pushing him. But anyway, so the last day that our family was together, he's attacking the cat. I get in the middle of that whole situation and save the cat. I get my neck broke, basically, and I suffer today from that injury. And I went to school, 6 periods. I remember completely because there was nothing more that I was thinking about except for getting home, waiting for him to get home, and giving him a knuckle sandwich, man. Because he had went way too far. In my 5th period class, I get a call. Teacher gets a call, send Jason to the office. I get to the office, and my mom is there. She's got my sister, and she takes us off to a women's and children's battered abuse kind of it was like one of those secret places where people go when they have these kind of really tough kind of abuse situations. And that was the last day our family was ever together. Our family was never ever together again. I was the pivot point. To this day, my father tells me, it is your fault that me and your mother got divorced. Nothing about the cat, nothing about grabbing me by my neck, and I don't think he realizes that my injury that I suffer from is because of him. But we'll get into that at a later date also. Let's fast forward to before the fire. And this was before I understood there was any campaign being started against me, a campaign that seemed to have been started at least since 2008. A campaign to completely destroy everything about me, which is ridiculous because none of it's, hardly any of it can be true. Of course, some of it can be true. I hate to say it, but there's times when I act just like my fucking father. These are the only times I ever think about my mortality. Otherwise, there's every reason to live forever. Even with his DNA in me, there's still reason to stay around. But when I act like him, I punch myself in the face. We'll just put it that way. So let's fast forward to 2013, 2014. I knew there was some crazy stuff going on, but I didn't understand what it was. I was calling people up. I called my aunt up, my dad's sister, because he was acting weird about some things. And I'm like, is Dad okay? His memory's acting weird and other stuff. I called my mother's friends because she was acting really weird. But I thought that they were just getting older. I didn't realize that there was a campaign being run against me. And the people that I called, unfortunately, I didn't realize that they were part of the campaign. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just, the thing is, there's so much evidence now that it's undeniable that there was a campaign and what it was that was going on. But I get a package in the mail from my mom. I'm all excited. I go open it up. And there's like 2 shirts in there. I open up and some candy and things like that. My mom often sends things like that. Not often, but every once in a while. And I look at this shirt, and it's got some English writing and Japanese writing. And it says, Urusai Troublemaker. Urusai in Japanese means stop it, and troublemaker means troublemaker. I actually fell to my knees when I opened up this shirt. Fell to my knees. I couldn't even breathe. I could not even breathe. Why would my mother send me a shirt like this? I get on my phone, I call my sister, and I say to my sister, what the fuck is up with this shirt? What the hell is this? And she says to me, laughing, yeah, I told Mom not to send you that. This laughing thing was part of the campaign. I never thought, I just thought they were going crazy. I don't know what the hell's going on with these people. And I'm like, what? And she says, Mom's right here. So she hands the phone to Mom. And I'm like, what is this shirt all about? And she says to me, what do you mean what it's all about? I'm like, why would you call me a troublemaker? Is that what I did? You call me a troublemaker? Stepping between the cat? You call me a troublemaker when I've stepped between her and people that were, there's many situations as I was growing up that I stood between Tatum and my mother. Not exactly between my dad, but against different situations, different kinds of things. They know that I will stand up. Not a troublemaker, but a trouble ender. Simply, not a troublemaker, but definitely a trouble ender. Very strange thing about that shirt. Out of all the things that I've raised with my mother, and please understand that I didn't realize until 2014, maybe a year before the fire, that there was something going on, but I still didn't understand that it was a campaign. It was actually 2013. That's probably when this shirt was sent also. And I was dealing with a lot of very, very other crazy things going on in Santa Cruz. Extremely crazy stuff. Absolute strangers saying things to me where I'm like, who the fuck are you? What are you talking about? And obviously these were all people that were part of being influenced by the campaign that was being held against me. But she doesn't own up to anything about any of that stuff. But there's one thing that she always says, because I always remind her, we haven't spoken in a long time, but I always remind her about the shirt. And she's like, you need to forget about that shirt. I didn't mean anything bad about it. It was just supposed to be a joke. And I'm like, Mom, what kind of a joke is calling me a troublemaker when it has absolutely zero? There's nothing I've ever done except for mess with people who are messing with me that may designate me as a troublemaker. That's not a troublemaker. A troublemaker is somebody who starts stuff. I finish stuff. I don't start it, which is apparent. It is obvious. I've been dealing with what I'm dealing with now for a long time. I don't start stuff, but I finish it. And she is super adamant to make me forget about that shirt. I don't know why. Out of everything else that she's done and that I've documented, right? You got the video of her when I'm asking her to help me out in Sacramento after being poisoned by Tara Mauk, and then attacked by those two guys and everything else to get me some help. That video's out there. She knows she was videoed. It's not some super secret. I set the camera up right in front of her. You can see her looking at the camera while I'm setting it up. She understood it was there. Nothing but that shirt she always says something about. Just forget about it. Doesn't mean anything. I don't know why. I don't know why she sent me the shirt either. But now, I didn't know then, but I know now, with deductive reasoning and everything that's occurred, that this is part of the campaign that she was working on, and the sort of psychological torture that she has actually always been known for. I didn't think that's what it was. I thought she loved me. That's what I thought it was. I thought she was loving me. But obviously that shirt meant something completely different. And when I say I thought she was loving me, that was before the campaign, is what I've always thought. And I still gave her and my dad all these different passes during the campaign because, I thought they were losing their minds. They're getting older, and not just that, it's not my business to take on other people's stuff, but since they're my parents, I care about them. I'm going to do and say what I can. But understand a little bit more about this woman. This woman capitalized on my child abuse. Capitalized on it. Used it as the impetus to get freedom from my father. Let me tell you what's really interesting about all that. She had asked me, are you going to be okay to testify if you need to testify? And I said, sure I am, of course. I have no problem. I ain't no fucking liar. I ain't no liar. I'm not an exaggerator. I'm not any of those kinds of things. I'm an avid fisherman. I never fucking, I don't even fucking exaggerate them. Sorry to curse, but this is really hefty stuff right here. And, that fucking sure broke my heart, man. Absolutely broke my heart. And, but it shows you who this woman is. The same thing about the abortion talk and letting me know how I'm lucky to be alive because she saved my life because, these kinds of things. My mother, she's a sociopath. The woman that tells me, with my Aunt Tony, coming to visit me at Hemingway's in Orange Beach, Alabama, trying to give me tips on how to make more money. She says to me, if you smile when you say something to somebody, you can tell them anything and they'll believe you. And I told her, I says, look, I'm actually really successful. I make as much money as anybody there, if not more. And that actually what I've understood is that when it comes into serving really fine food, dealing with people that are spending $300 or sometimes even more in a bottle of wine, that knowing what you're talking about and actually being serious about serving people food that they're spending a lot of money on and putting in their mouth and having a professional attitude is actually all that I need. And what's interesting about that her tip to me is that she was with my Aunt Tony at the time. My Aunt Tony from Florida, Niceville, Florida. Sherry Cadenhead's mother. Somebody who was mixed up in supposedly, I confessed to her that I fucked my sister? I know that sounds really stark, but under fucking stand. I fucked my sister? Are you fucking crazy? Jesus Christmas. So, and I did not hear that from my aunt's mouth because she would never be able to say that to me. But this is part of a campaign. And I didn't find out that part, that supposedly I told my aunt to confess to my aunt that I had fucked my sister, until 2017. That's when I went up to go see my dad in Sacramento. And that's when I met at Officer McCarthy and further interference from the fire department in Sacramento. And, that whole scenario and those fucking shenanigans. But what I'm trying to highlight here is that she wouldn't put me on the stand because she knew that I was going to tell the truth, and that putting me on the stand was going to create a situation where my father's lawyer would be able to cross-examine me. And maybe she was trying to save me. But she knows, I believe she knows that I'm just going to tell the truth, and I think she thought it would backfire on her because what she was doing was capitalizing. It wasn't out of call to went to that women's shelter and all that. My father had broke my fucking neck that day. That's basically what had happened. I had already been working out. I was a big boy back then, and which was why his ass was grasped when he got home that night. He fucking knew it. I'm positive he knew that it was going to be a really bad night when he got home. And of course it was a really bad night because his whole family was gone. And he was left there with the fucking cat. Poor Mimi. Poor Mimi. I'm so sorry. My mom gave that fucking cat away after all that shit. That beautiful cat. Sweet little thing. Sweet, sweet thing. So let's understand something here. As I'm being demonized and thrown into some campaign and turned into some sort of fucking evil fucking crazy man, all I was trying to do was save the cat. All I was doing was being myself and being honest. And when I received that shirt, it was a kick to my whole soul. And my mother knows. I think what she did was she made a mistake and went outside of the lines of whatever this scenario it is that they're playing out, and whoever it is that they got involved, and thought she was going to be cool and kick me in the balls like that to try to make some sort of a message to me. But I don't get messages like that. I mean, I see things, I understand things, blah, blah, blah. Tell me what it is, and I'll tell you what it is. But I don't react on shit like that, and that fucking shirt was something else. And her kind of wanting to bury it is also something else. I got photos of it, but I think somebody, one of these damn actors, crisis actors, or whatever that was in my life since then, stole it. It may be stored away, I can't be certain. But it's gone now, but I've got pictures all over the place. So that's just a little bit more about my mother. She is a true sociopath, and she will smile while she's lying to convince you of what she's saying. That's her tip to me, right there in front of my aunt. Understand, that was long before all this campaign. That was one of her life, more to know for a better life ideas. And even then, I was like, "What are you talking about? I know exactly what I'm doing. Thanks for your advice, Mom, but smiling and lying is not the way to go." But just understand who this woman is and what it is that she's actually served up to you. It's the words from a sociopath.